Hello, welcome everyone. Let's kick off the week with a wave of hot updates. We have a new update from Cemu, still modest but promising. We'll also discuss Pretendo, the private network that allows playing WiiU and 3DS games online, including a version of Cemu. Additionally, there's an update from ShadPS4 that now allows reaching the main menu of the game Bloodborne, originally exclusive to PlayStation 4. Pokémon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are being decompiled. Soon, we'll have a PC version with various customizations and gameplay without any emulation. There's also a new PSP emulator made in Java available for Windows, Linux, and macOS. And Uzuy, the Nintendo Switch emulator for Android, with a new update optimized for devices with 4 GB of RAM. Guys, this video is long, so here's the deal. Go ahead and drop a like now so I don't have to interrupt. If you change your mind, you can always switch it to a dislike. If it's your first time on the channel, consider subscribing to get all the updates weekly. Starting with Cemu. For those who don't know, Cemu version 2.0 has now become publicly developed, with builds available directly on the official website or GitHub. This emulator, for a long time, hadn't received a major update. Cemu still remains the best option for those looking to emulate Zelda Breath of the Wild with high frame rates, lighting modifications, render distance, shadows, and much more. In recent days, Cemu has introduced an experimental version, labeled 2.0 to 88. This new version includes fixes for the WiiU gamepad screen size, now rendered correctly. It also enables playing games from the Disney Infinity series, although I couldn't demonstrate gameplay as it requires a special gadget I don't have access to. The debugging process has also been improved, ensuring better stability across various games. I tested The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for a few minutes, and indeed, the frame rate seems much more stable, and the game much smoother than in 2022 when I completed it. Another issue I had was running Need for Speed Most Wanted U, which now, simply by switching the recompiler to multicore, makes the game playable. This game has exclusive content on the WiiU, but there still isn't a fix to run it above 30 FPS, making the experience below expectations. Still talking about WiiU, some of you may have heard of the Pretendo Network. Pretendo is a private network aimed at bringing back online experiences on WiiU and 3DS, whose servers were shut down by Nintendo this year, including the digital store, preventing the acquisition of new games. Pretendo is an open-source and free network that also allows online play through Cemu. In this new update, they bring compatibility for the game Super Smash Bros., although only for Pretendo's beta testers. It will also be possible to trade Pokémon from the 6th generation through Pretendo, but a method to make Pretendo work on Citra has not been implemented yet, so for now, only original 3DS hardware is compatible. To connect Cemu to the Pretendo network, you need at least experimental version 2.0-05. Go to Network Settings and select the Pretendo network. Using the latest version, Pretendo was unavailable to me, so I couldn't test it. Maybe I made a mistake or missed the procedure. Now, speaking about ShadPS4, the most promising PlayStation 4 emulator, it can now reach the initial menu of Bloodborne. This may seem minor at the moment, but for an emulator that implemented its initial shader system just a few days ago, it's already a significant milestone. Currently, most playable games on this system are 2D games, but there are already some 3D games, like one of the titles from the One Piece franchise, running decently despite some graphical issues. The version running the game is 0.1.1, which has not yet been made available to the public. I'll be keeping an eye on all updates of this new project and will bring updates as soon as possible. The games Pokémon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will soon cease to be exclusive to Nintendo, as there's a group decompiling the game. It appears the game runs on the Unity graphics engine, which greatly facilitates the process. Once this decompilation is complete, we'll have native versions for Android, including touchscreen support, as well as native versions for Windows. This will also make it easier to create mods and ROM hacks. The launch of these games on Switch was turbulent, with a blur that hindered gameplay, lots of aliasing, and the entire game locked at 30 FPS, besides the lack of support for additional languages like Portuguese. With this complete decompilation, it will be much easier to solve all these issues at once. Nintendo has had several of its games decompiled and ported to various platforms. For example, Super Mario 64 was ported to PC with widescreen support and camera fixes for modern standards, and even to PlayStation 2. About a month ago, there was also a complete decompilation of Zelda Majora's Mask, which you can check out in the video in the card and description, being ported to Android and PC. As soon as there are updates on this project, I'll bring you fresh information. We have a new PSP emulator being developed in Java. For those wondering why this is happening, since PPSSPP is considered by many as the perfect emulator, both in its Windows and Android versions, know that PPSSPP still has some bugs. For instance, in Dante's Inferno, there are issues like ghosting and excessive glow that compromise the gaming experience, along with other problems in different titles. This new emulator, capable of running on Windows, Linux, and macOS in both 32-bit and 64-bit versions, received its latest update about a month ago and has been in development since 2008. There isn't yet a changelog for this new version, but it seems something related to memory visualization has been fixed. It's worth noting that the project's website is still quite basic and has bugs when trying to view compatible games. I'll leave the link in the description for those who want to find out more about this project. Finally, we have a new project ported from Uzuy, a Nintendo Switch emulator for Windows and Android, primarily focused on Android, called Uzuy Edge. Although I haven't tested the project yet for fear of infecting the device where I record, I prefer to wait a little longer. The development and distribution of the project are entirely done on Discord, and I'll leave the link for you. However, download and use it at your own risk. The project focuses on low-performance devices, including options for resolutions as low as 25% and even 12.5%. It utilizes Android's benchmark function, with versions available on Antutu and 3D Mark. For those who don't know, when an Android application activates benchmark mode, the device can release more hardware power to improve in-game performance. This process is used in Citra MMJ and demonstrates superior results compared to projects that do not utilize this feature, as you can see in the video in the card. In its latest versions, extended memory features have been improved, issues related to low resolution have been fixed, and telemetry has been disabled, as currently the website is not operational, wasting operating system resources. When downloading the project, you have the option to use apps compatible with 4 GB of RAM, and if you have 6 GB or more, they have another app specifically for these devices. Despite several somewhat peculiar projects appearing in recent days, whose origin and security are unknown, these developers seem to know what they're doing. However, I still don't recommend testing them yet, but if you do, please share your results in the comments. And those were all the news from the beginning of this week. Thank you for your audience, and see you in the next video.